You have to have the idea, you have to have that imagination, that divine download, but you also have to construct that idea into the logic, into the planning, into the knowledge. Have you ever thought that the wealthiest companies and inventions that we have in our lives, think about Apple, Netflix, Tesla, think about brands that are out there making millions of dollars and wealthiest brands on earth in the world. Did you know that at some point that brand started as an idea, like as a aha moment, as a spark of inspiration, and then it acquired its form and logic and plan and path, which is a lot of the time was very interesting and structured. And this is how those brands become that big and those wealthy brands that we know right now. Would you want to know how to create that spark in you for your life, for your purpose, for your business? Give it a form and manifest it in something beautiful that will change lives. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk about the second and the third wealth creation principle, and these are creative wisdom and understanding and logic. Creative wisdom is one of the principles, and the third principle is understanding and logic. So, it's a part two of my 10 principles of wealth creation. Today, we're going to talk about principle number 2 and principle number 3 because it's important. I think it's important to keep them in the same episode because you have to have the idea, the imagination, that divine download, but you also have to construct that idea into the logic, into the planning, into the knowledge, because one doesn't go without the other. And this is the universal principle that will work for your business, for your life, your career. This is the fundamental principle of creation and alignment. So, but before we dive into the wisdom of the second principle of wealth creation, creative wisdom, I want to circle back to the episode number 1 in the first part. And the first part was all about alignment because this is really important to understand. Those 10 principles of wealth creation that I'm talking about, they're all interconnected because you are building your business as a whole. You are building your business as a whole human being. And it's not that you pick one of the principles or the other, like I like the first principle, it's my divine assignment, my infinite intention for my life from the creator, what I'm truly meant to be. It's your divine calling, it's your divine assignment. So without that, I would say it's kind of hard to get to that creative wisdom. And without creative wisdom, it's hard to have an understanding. And without understanding, it's kind of hard to move to this wholeness, right? So it's not like you can just skip steps. It's important to have that realization, that understanding, not just the why behind your business. The why behind your business can change. Your business can change. Your product can change. Your business model, everything can change. You may decide that you don't want to run your business anymore and you want to do it in a different way. Maybe it works for somebody or maybe partner with somebody. Maybe taking a role at like organization or however it feels right. But it's important to know the alignment. Also, knowing that will manifest in that state when you get creative wisdom. So let's talk about principle number 2, creative wisdom. This is the state when you get the idea and you don't think about the how. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people, they're $1,000,000 ideas. They're $1,000,000 ideas. They go to die and never see the light of day. As soon as you get excited. As soon as you got that aha moment about your creative idea, you gave up on yourself. You gave up on that idea and said, it's not a good idea. You never can, like, because that, that aha moment, that inspiration, it's limitless. It's limitless, divine download, wisdom, like inspiration. Hey, let's create, like, I don't know, let's create cure for cancer. And then your limiting belief is like, I'm not a doctor. I need to go to school. I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. And this is why this divine inspiration, this divine download won't work. And this is why I won't do it. Even though it gets me excited, it brings me joy, but I won't do it because I have so many limiting beliefs that will get in the way. You're blocking your blessing. You're blocking your next Apple. You can be next Apple. You can be next Oprah, next Tony Robbins, but you think you're not going to achieve it because you assume based on your feelings that you have limitations that somehow will determine the course of your action that you have not tried yet put to action. You don't even have the understanding, the structure, the path. You haven't even digested that problem in a way that you can actually think about what would be the next step for that vision. You just give up. But let's say you accept it and you move forward with that. You get excited. This is infinite energy when you get excited. After that, the most challenging part of that process is to actually step into the third principle of wealth creation. And the third principle of wealth creation is when you give that infinite idea, infinite divine download, finite form in terms of strategy, planning, understanding, breaking it down into pieces because you have this idea, like you have this inspiration, and it comes from pure heart and soul. But now you have to give it logic. You have to construct it into finite form. This is really important because without that finite form, it would be just chaos. Also, do you have the capacity and the vessel to hold this blessing? The logic will help you understand. Let's say I want to make 8 figures. Do I have the team? Do I have the offer plan? Do I have the demand? Do I have a lead flow? Do I have the strategy that will get me there? Do I have the emotional capacities? And we want to talk about the alignment, the further steps in future episodes. You start analyzing it. What are the actual steps to get me there from point B, from the idea, like, okay, I want to be next Oprah. I want to build the most famous cupcake brand in the world. But now I'm just in my apartment. I kind of like cooking cupcakes, maybe, but it just get me really excited. How do I actually do that? And you start putting your idea into finite step-by-step process. The least enjoyable process is actually facing the truth, because a lot of the time you will understand that this blessing, this download that you got, you might not have the vessel in terms of your capacity, mental health, in terms of your alignment, in terms of your healing, in terms of your in terms of your readiness to receive that kind of blessing. So this is why you have to have the understanding. You have to have the understanding, because if we look in the scripture in the Bible, when Solomon was asking God for wisdom, God actually gave him creative wisdom. Wisdom from God is a creative wisdom. The evidence of that we can see through his creation, through parables, through songs, through psalms and hymns, and so many books that he wrote, and like just incredible work that he has done. Like this is the creative wisdom. But he also admitted that I'm a little child, and and I'm paraphrasing, I can't even discern my right hand from left hand. Like, give me the discerning heart. Like in other words, like, give me that structure and give me the wisdom to have this inspiration. I need that structure. I need to understand how to implement that, because as soon as you have this download, you also have a lot of side excitements that will sway you. The simplest and easiest path for your wealth is actually trusting that initial aha moment, initial download, and giving it form in terms of the structure, the planning, and the vision. And when you combine your divine download, that what you meant for, what meant for you, because I personally believe, that if it wasn't meant for you, if it wasn't meant for your destiny, you would not have that desire, you would not have that inspiration, you would not have that creative wisdom. It's not that it's not meant for us. It's that we may not have the vessel to implement it yet. And the reason we are not getting the implementation and manifestation right away after we get that creative wisdom is that we need to prepare our vessel. Sometimes you get the creative download, you get the creative idea, and it manifests just like that because you actually have the capacity to give it finite form, to execute it in this physical world. Sometimes it is all about preparation of our vessel, expanding our vessel, expanding our trust to God, expanding our trust to our teams, expanding our trust to ourselves, because without trusting God, you can trust yourself. Without trusting yourself, you cannot trust your team. Without trusting your team, it's really hard to build sustainable business. Without trusting your clients that they actually will implement your framework, and it's hard to build online coaching or mentorship or service-based business. And these are all things coming together. These are the second and third principles of wealth creation. The second principle is your creative wisdom. The third principle is the structure, planning, and understanding, not just knowledge. If you look at the Genesis, there was a tree of life and there was a tree of knowledge. And when you just know things, it actually gives you suffering. And a lot of the time, you don't need more knowledge. You just need more wisdom and understanding, not just knowledge. You already have knowledge. You already know the framework, the webinar funnel, the email sequences, the marketing techniques you learn from other coaches. You already watched the courses. You don't need more knowledge. You need more wisdom, more inspiration, and more understanding. When it's grounded, when it's in alignment, then you can actually implement. It's not about perfection. It's about giving the form when it's aligned with you, creating a bigger vessel. Because when it's not working, it's actually working for you. It's actually preparing you for a bigger vessel. You just have to listen and be in tune with that. When you implement that, the path becomes clear. You instantly know who you need to hire, what marketing strategy you need to implement, how you need to show up in your sales goals differently, how you need to show up in your life differently. And also it will guide you like, okay, is it something that I do on my own in my business, or is it something I do for somebody else? What does it look like for my season in my life so I can fulfill my infinite divine destiny? What this season for me looks like. What form is it like? Because entrepreneurship is not necessarily the fulfillment of your destiny. Entrepreneurship could be a season of your life when you fulfill your destiny. Entrepreneurship can be a vessel that you have right now to fulfill your destiny. It's not the destiny itself. It's just the season and the tool and the period of your life when you are becoming most aligned self. So that is what entrepreneurship is. Now, if you're looking for a mentor, if you building your business and you build already your business and you're looking for, like, you're not looking for knowledge, you're not looking just to know how to sell, to know how to create an offer, to know that you're not looking for another strategy, but you're rather looking for creating, scaling business from the place where you're healed, when you align, when you understand your life purpose, not just business purpose, mission and vision in your life, why you're here on this earth, and you want to combine it with fundamental strategies, we have the divine download, the divine assignment of our crown, our wisdom, and we need to have understanding. So if you want to combine that and you're looking for a mentor who can provide you the space to process, learn, grow, and scale your business in alignment with you, I have spots open. The link is in the description for this episode. Fill out the application form. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about what you are trying to achieve, and I will reach out to you. Please, if you submit your social media links, make sure that social media links are accurate, because I will be reaching out to you. I would like to have a conversation with you as well. And also join for my part 3 of 10 principles of wealth creation, when we're going to talk about generosity and expansion, and having mercy and discipline and boundaries and kind of this sense of justice. And that's the next episode. We're going to talk about generosity and expansion. And we're also going to talk about discipline and boundaries, because see, creative wisdom and understanding, generosity, kindness, mercy, grace, and discipline and boundaries and justice. You see how it correlates, because your wealth is actually very harmonious, came from divine alignment, manifested in the divine infinite wisdom, took the finite form of understanding, and manifested as a generosity, because when you are blessed to be a blessing. It formed, and it needed discipline and clear judgment in your business, in your life, in your purpose. But we're going to talk about that in the next episode. I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.